Hello, everyone, and today we are talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, Jacksonville, let's remember what's important. And what's important for Jacksonville is defense, run blocking, and Leonard Fournette. Yes, you've got Nick Foles. He comes with some experience, playoffs, and the Super Bowl. Leonard Fournette is still a good running back, even though he had the experience he had up in Buffalo last year, which led to him getting hurt and all kinds of. Remember what life was like before Leonard Fournette. It was bad. Yes, it's Saxonville in Jacksonville. Absolutely. But remember what life was like before Leonard Fournette. When playing at the top of his game, he's a top five back in the league. He is a bona fide running back that can get you 100 yards per game. He can score 20 touchdowns a season. Not only are you Saxonville, but Jacksonville, you've got a very good defensive backfield. You've got two corners in AJ Bouye and Patrick Ramsey. They can cover and stay with anyone. With Josh Allen being added to the pass rush, your pass rush is going to get even better. But do you have a winning season this year? That relies on Leonard Fournette. Now, Jacksonville did add some depth, added a little bit, a few running backs in Alfred Blue, acquisition from the Texans. Yeah, he can give you 10 touches, 12 touches a game. Absolutely. And quality touches. He's a good inside zone running back with a little bit of burst and good power. Raquel Armstead, a rookie at a Temple, 4.45 speed. He did good in the Senior Bowl. Very well. He impressed against top echelon talent in college, though. I believe does translate into the NFL, but a lot of times the rookies need time to make that adjustment. Sometimes training camp's just not enough. And your receivers, they don't jump off the page. I'm not saying they're not good. You got Dade Westbrook. He's going to bring some production. Keelan Cole had a little bit of an off year last year, but he's a good receiver going into his third year. Key acquisition from Kansas City, Chris Conley, played well. We're going to see if his play in Kansas City was a result of being surrounded by Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins, or was he really that good? Not that he had an extreme amount of production, but he was productive. He was a receiver that kind of picked up the slack when everybody wasn't open. It went to Chris Conley. He got the leftovers from everyone. Can he be at least as productive as what he was in Kansas City? He may see a few more targets. DJ Chark, he's second year player. Can he step up? All the abilities there. A little bit raw, but can he learn and become the player that he was drafted to be? That's the major, question for this Jacksonville Jaguars team. At tight end, yeah, you've got a bunch of tight ends, but I don't see any big names. You've got the rookie out of San Jose State, and you got Geoff Swaim, former Dallas Cowboy, 6'4", 260 pounds. Yeah, not a bad receiver, not a bad blocker. A real big key is, can this offensive line protect? In the past, protection has been poor, which meant that you had to rely on the running game and Leonard Fournette. Now they've been able to make holes in the running game in years past, but not consistent in the passing game. You did add Jawan Taylor in the second round. I think on the right side of the line, he will add either depth or become the starter. Either way, it's. I mean, could Cam Robinson be a good player? I still think so, but he has trouble staying healthy. So Jawan Taylor definitely makes sense. We'll add some run support to that offensive line, but still not. You don't see superstars jumping off the page on the O line. All your superstars are in your pass rushers and in your secondary, along with Miles Jack. Telvin Smith has had a few down years. Now, do I think Telvin Smith could pop up and be and return to old form? Absolutely. Absolutely. He is a very, very talented player. And I wouldn't put anything past him as far as, his production and his play. Another key acquisition was Marcel Darius last year. Big time interior defensive lineman that could help with an interior push, which could help the exterior pass rushers even more. So I think your defense will be better. It's just a matter of, can you protect Nick Foles? Can you get him some time? You don't have an extreme amount of experience at the wide receiver position. A little bit of a dark horse is Terrell Pryor, but does he even make it through camp? That's going to be interesting because you have a lot of young talent at the wide receiver position that needs to be groomed. So would a Terrell Pryor make the team? Does have the ability to be productive, was productive for the first 4 weeks of the season for the Jets last year. So do you keep an older veteran who can give you some production and cut a third-year player or second-year player? Or do you keep the second or third-year player, allow him to progress? And if that's the case, you're going to need the offensive line to block very well in the passing game. Yeah, Nick Foles can move around a little bit, but he's not an extremely athleticism, running away from blitzers or outrunning anybody. That's not his forte. His forte is moving around in the pocket, maybe occasionally scrambling to primarily the right side, and finding receivers in the red zone. He manages the game well. He has minimized his turnovers. But remember, the Eagles, they had a lot of talent, both at running back, receiver, tight end. Jacksonville doesn't have the receiving tight ends. They don't have a Zach Ertz. Okay? They do, I think, this year have the running backs. You look at their running backs, Leonard Fournette, Alfred Blue, and Raquel Armstead. That's pretty good depth. That's solid. Okay. But you take a look at tight end and wide receiver. Receiver has some potential. Tight end is almost bare. No proven anything there. So your outlet, you don't have a lot of outlet style receivers. So you're going to have to block. You've got a lot of receivers that are intermediate route receivers, and it's going to take them a little time to get open. Although Nick Foles in camp this year, or at least in the OTAs, is saying that he enjoys throwing to the running backs and that there may be an infusion of outlet throws to running backs, which would definitely help. If they're throwing the ball to Leonard Fournette, Raquel Armstead, and Alfred Blue, that'll help with some production. It'll help you get first downs. It'll help with you with continuity. It'll help you with consistency because continuity comes from consistency. The defense is going to have to play outstanding. They're going to have to get a lot of sacks. They're going to have to get a lot of interceptions. But they do have the pass rushers to get the sacks, and they've got the corners to give the pass rushers time to get to the quarterback. Jacksonville has probably a top 5 defense this year. If the offensive line can win at the point of attack. And that's important because the offensive line will, how they play will affect the time of possession. If they play better, the Jacksonville Jaguars will give first downs, which will help them win the time of possession battle. If you win the time of possession battle, the defense can play to a top 5 level for longer throughout the game. And if they put up 22 to 24 points a game and they only allow 13, 14 points a game, Jacksonville's going to win. They're going to win some games. Right now, I wouldn't put a grade or a number or a prediction to the outcome of the season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I still think there's some moves that they could make in preseason to fill some holes. Whether it be on the offensive line or tight end position or whatever the case may be. They may bring in a receiver. You may see some training camp trades. We'll keep an eye on that as we move forward. But really, Jacksonville has been about defense and the running game, and it's going to continue to be like that. Even with Nick Foles, do I think he's going to do a good job at quarterback? I do. I think he'll manage the game. I think he'll minimize turnovers, which, with a good defense, can win games. And if you win a few games and get some young guys feeling good, build that confidence. Guys, when they build confidence, they develop very, very well. But they are reliant on their strong points to cover up the deficiencies or the points that need development. A lot of teams in the NFL are like that, except for the ones that are year in, year out contenders. Do I think Jacksonville's a contender? No. Could they make the playoffs? It's possible, but not probable. But again, I would like to see if Jacksonville makes some training camp moves. I do think Alfred Blue, I know I talked about him before, but he's a pretty big upgrade as far as backup running back. And Raquel Armstead, you've definitely got to feel good about that. But outside of that, Jacksonville didn't really do anything to help their case on offense outside of Nick Foles. And yes, they got a rookie right tackle from Florida, Juwan Taylor. But that's it. You don't see any massive changes. You don't see an infusion of talent, which could lead to problems later on. If Jacksonville stays healthy and young players develop, yes, they could get hot, make a run, win 6 games in a row. They have that kind of defense. So, I mean, really, if they play 500 football for the first 6 games of the season and then make a run, you never know. But I think Jacksonville is going to be one of them teams where they are going to be reliant on making a run. So are a lot of teams. But there are your top 6 or 7 teams in the NFL. The Patriots, Rams, Atlanta, New Orleans. These teams do it year in and year out. Um, Not a lot of holes, not a lot of deficiencies. And with that being said, I think we've covered the Jacksonville Jaguars. Be sure to join me next week as I go through a little bit more in depth and cover any updated moves made by Jacksonville Jaguars. Hope you enjoyed watching. Have a great day, everyone.